The situation around Jonathan Kuminga has taken another unexpected turn, and it is quickly becoming one of the most intriguing storylines surrounding the Golden State Warriors as the league moves closer to the trade deadline. What once felt like a straightforward development discussion has now evolved into a complex market scenario, with multiple teams quietly evaluating how Kuminga could fit into their long-term plans. Among those teams, the Los Angeles Lakers have emerged as a franchise keeping a close eye on the situation, and that alone adds a layer of intrigue given the history between these two organizations. From the Warriors' perspective, this moment feels pivotal. Kuminga entered the season with genuine expectations, especially after flashes of growth that hinted at a potential breakout. Early stretches showed promise, with his athleticism, rim pressure, and improved confidence creating optimism that he might finally carve out a consistent role. However, as the weeks passed, that momentum faded. Inconsistencies began to surface, his minutes fluctuated, and his overall impact no longer matched the initial excitement. That shift has naturally impacted how front offices around the league perceive his value right now. The Lakers' interest is particularly interesting because of what they are reportedly searching for. Their focus at the deadline centers on adding size on the wing, someone who can contribute defensively while offering enough versatility to stay on the floor in high-leverage moments. While Kuminga is not traditionally labeled as a three-point and defense specialist, his profile still draws attention. He is explosive, physically gifted, and capable of attacking mismatches in ways that few wings can. Over time, his outside shot has shown signs of progress, and defensively he has demonstrated stretches of engagement that suggest more growth could be unlocked in the right environment. That distinction matters because Kuminga's value is not rooted in fitting a neat archetype. He is not a stationary shooter waiting in the corner, nor is he a pure lockdown defender. Instead, he thrives when he can slash, run the floor, and use his strength to finish through contact. For a team like the Lakers, which often relies on interior gravity and paint pressure, that skill set could theoretically complement their stars, especially if Kuminga is given a simplified role that emphasizes his strengths rather than exposing his weaknesses. At the same time, Golden State must weigh the reality of where they are as a franchise. The Warriors are no longer operating purely on development timelines. Every roster decision is filtered through the lens of maximizing the present while still protecting the future. Kuminga's contract situation, combined with his uneven production, makes him a natural name to surface in trade conversations. If the organization believes his role will remain limited or his growth will stagnate, exploring alternatives becomes a logical step rather than an emotional one. Potential frameworks involving the Lakers open up multiple paths. A direct swap scenario could bring back players who offer more immediate shooting or lineup flexibility. A wing who can space the floor consistently would align well with Golden State's system, where movement, decision-making, and efficiency are valued as much as raw athleticism. Adding a younger guard or rotational piece could also help stabilize bench units that have struggled to maintain leads throughout the season. Beyond a simple two-team exchange, the idea of expanding discussions into a larger, multi-team deal adds another layer of complexity. In scenarios like that, Kuminga becomes more than just a developmental prospect. He becomes a connector, a piece that allows other teams to shift salaries, acquire draft capital, or rebalance their rosters. For the Warriors, that type of deal could potentially unlock access to a higher-level contributor, someone who fits seamlessly alongside their core and addresses specific weaknesses that have been exposed over the course of the season. What makes this situation even more fascinating is how quickly perception can change in the league. Just months ago, Kuminga was viewed as a foundational piece with star upside. Now, conversations revolve around fit, role, and timing rather than pure potential. That does not erase his talent, but it does highlight how narrow the margin is between being untouchable and being available, especially on a team with championship expectations. Defensively, Kuminga still offers reasons for optimism. His rebounding from the wing position has been a positive, and when locked in, he can switch across multiple positions and disrupt passing lanes. Those traits remain valuable, particularly for teams looking to inject athleticism into their rotation. Offensively, the efficiency numbers fluctuate, but context matters. Limited volume, changing roles, and inconsistent minutes can distort perception, making it difficult for a young player to find rhythm. As the deadline approaches, both the Warriors and the Lakers must decide how aggressive they want to be. For Golden State, the question centers on whether patience will eventually pay off or whether a strategic pivot could better serve their goals. For Los Angeles, the calculation involves risk and reward, betting on upside versus opting for a more proven, stable contributor. Kuminga sits right at the intersection of those philosophies, which is why his name continues to surface in league conversations. This developing narrative is less about rivalry and more about opportunity. When front offices see a chance to solve multiple problems with a single move, traditional lines blur. The coming weeks will reveal whether this interest evolves into serious negotiations or remains exploratory. But the mere possibility underscores how dynamic the trade landscape has become and how quickly a young player's trajectory can intersect with the ambitions of multiple contenders. As the league inches closer to the deadline, the internal pressure on the Warriors continues to grow, and Jonathan Kuminga remains right at the center of those conversations. What complicates everything is that his struggles are not rooted in effort or physical tools, but rather in timing, confidence, and clarity of role. When a young player is caught between being developed and being relied upon to win now, every mistake feels louder, every missed rotation more costly, and every inefficient stretch magnified. That reality has shaped how Golden State is currently evaluating its options. There were moments earlier in the season when Kuminga looked poised to take a real step forward. His attacks to the rim were decisive, his athleticism popped off the screen, and his presence added a different dimension to lineups that can sometimes feel predictable. During that stretch, the Warriors' rotations felt cleaner, the pace improved, and there was a sense that Kuminga was beginning to understand where he fit within the system. That version of him is the one front offices still believe exists, even if it has not consistently appeared in recent weeks. The problem is that the league does not wait. As minutes tightened and games became more meaningful, Kuminga's role shrank, and with it, his rhythm. The inconsistency in playing time has made it difficult for him to establish continuity, especially on offense where timing and confidence are everything. His shooting percentages reflect that volatility, swinging between efficient nights and games where he struggles to find any impact at all. For a team built around precision and decision-making, those swings are hard to absorb. This is where the Lakers' interest becomes more than just curiosity. Los Angeles operates in a different ecosystem, one where star gravity simplifies reads and creates space by default. In that environment, Kuminga would not be asked to be a primary creator or a focal point. Instead, he could lean into cutting, transition opportunities, and attacking closeouts. That type of role reduction can often unlock efficiency for players who have struggled with expanded responsibilities, especially at a young age. From Golden State's side, moving Kuminga would not be an admission of failure, but rather an acknowledgement of misaligned timelines. The Warriors are still trying to compete at a high level, and every roster spot must serve that objective. If they believe that reallocating Kuminga's salary and potential into more immediate production improves their chances, the calculus becomes straightforward. It is not about what Kuminga might be in 3 or 4 years, but what the roster needs right now to survive the grind of the postseason. Any deal involving Los Angeles would also force Golden State to think carefully about roster balance. Shooting has been a recurring concern, particularly in lineups where spacing collapses and driving lanes disappear. Bringing in a wing who can reliably stretch the floor would alleviate some of that pressure, opening the game up for cutters and playmakers alike. Even marginal improvements in spacing can have a cascading effect on efficiency, ball movement, and late-game execution. There's also the defensive component to consider. While Kuminga has the tools to be a strong defender, his awareness and consistency fluctuate. In a system that demands constant communication and split-second reads, that could be a problem. Veterans or more established role players often make fewer mistakes, even if their physical ceiling is lower. For a coaching staff focused on minimizing breakdowns, that reliability can outweigh raw upside, especially in playoff settings. Beyond a direct exchange, the possibility of looping in additional teams adds another dimension to this story. Multi-team deals allow organizations to address multiple needs at once, turning one asset into several pieces that collectively provide more value. In that context, Kuminga becomes a bridge rather than a destination, a player whose inclusion helps align contracts, draft assets, and positional needs across the league. For Golden State, that flexibility could be the key to making a more transformative move. What makes this scenario especially delicate is the emotional aspect. Kuminga was drafted as part of a vision for the future, a symbol of transition from one era to the next. Moving on from that idea carries weight, even if the basketball logic supports it. Front offices must balance attachment with pragmatism, recognizing when a change is necessary despite the original intent behind a pick or a development plan. The evaluation of Kuminga's defense and rebounding remains a point of debate. On one hand, his athleticism allows him to contest shots, switch on to bigger players, and crash the glass from the wing. On the other hand, lapses in focus and positioning can negate those advantages. Teams interested in him believe that structure and role clarity could help iron out those issues, but that belief is ultimately a projection rather than a guarantee. As trade talks intensify, leverage becomes a critical factor. Kuminga's recent dip in production has undeniably affected his perceived value, which complicates negotiations. Teams are less likely to overpay when uncertainty looms, and that forces the Warriors to decide how much they are willing to compromise. Waiting carries its own risk, as continued struggles could further depress his market, while acting now locks in a return before the picture shifts again. Los Angeles, meanwhile, must weigh the upside against the cost. Acquiring Kuminga would represent a bet on development within a competitive window, a gamble that his best basketball is still ahead of him. For a franchise accustomed to bold moves, that risk may be acceptable, especially if they believe their environment can accelerate his growth. The question is whether that belief aligns with what Golden State is willing to accept in return. The league has seen countless examples of young players finding success after a change of scenery, just as it has seen prospects stall despite new opportunities. Kuminga's future likely hinges on context more than talent, on fit more than flashes. Whether that context ultimately comes in Golden State, Los Angeles, or elsewhere remains unresolved, but the urgency surrounding the decision continues to build with each passing game. What is clear is that this situation is no longer hypothetical. Conversations are happening, frameworks are being explored, and contingency plans are being drawn up. Kuminga's name has moved from speculation to genuine discussion, signaling that the Warriors are at least open to listening. In a league driven by timing and opportunity, that openness alone can be enough to set major changes in motion, especially when multiple contenders see a chance to reshape their roster before it is too late. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. In what could become the most talked-about move in recent NBA history, whispers are circulating that Giannis Antetokounmpo has agreed to join the Golden State Warriors, a franchise already synonymous with dynastic success in the Curry era. Sources close to the situation describe the potential deal as historic, hinting that the package offered might be the largest in franchise history, eclipsing even the groundbreaking contracts that defined Golden State's dominance over the past decade. For months, speculation has swirled around Giannis' future. The reigning superstar, known for his extraordinary athleticism and versatility, has long been linked to a handful of elite teams, but a Warriors move would represent a seismic shift in the league's power balance. Imagine pairing the Greek Freak's relentless drive to the hoop with Stephen Curry's unparalleled shooting and Draymond Green's defensive acumen. The possibilities are tantalizing, and rival franchises are reportedly already recalculating their strategies. The financial terms of the deal, still shrouded in mystery, are rumored to dwarf anything previously offered to a free agent by the Warriors. While exact figures are unconfirmed, Insiders suggest the structure could involve a combination of long-term commitments, player incentives, and trade flexibility, all designed to maximize the team's championship window while accommodating salary cap realities. The sheer scale of the offer has sparked debate across the NBA landscape, with pundits questioning whether a single blockbuster signing could redefine not just one team, but the league's competitive ecosystem. Critics argue that adding Giannis to an already star-studded roster might upset chemistry, while proponents insist that the move could usher in a new golden era of dominance for Golden State. Social media chatter is exploding, with fans speculating on how the team's style of play might evolve. Would Giannis adopt a more perimeter-oriented game alongside Curry, or would Golden State lean into an inside-out offense fueled by sheer athleticism? The strategic possibilities alone are enough to ignite endless debate. While nothing is official, the mere suggestion of Giannis in a Warriors jersey has sent shockwaves through the NBA world. Analysts are calling it the ultimate super team scenario, a move that could define a generation. Whether this rumor will solidify into reality remains to be seen, but one thing is clear: the league's power dynamics might never look the same again. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.